Disability Poetics, The Basics, based on Michael Norton's Disabling the Tongue, Language, Disability, and the Poetry of Pain. While poetry has long served as a vehicle for marginalized voices, disability poetry emerged as a distinct literary movement only in the late 20th century, challenging both ableist assumptions and traditional poetic forms. Michael Norton argues that modern disability poetry began with A.J. Baird's 1986 anthology Towards Solomon's Mountain, which called for tough-minded poetry grounded in physical reality rather than sentimental work that evoked pity. Earlier poets with disabilities like Josephine Miles, Larry Eigner, and Vassar Miller had achieved some literary success, but rarely addressed their disability directly in their work, reflecting the cultural climate where disability was hidden from public view. The independent living movement of the 1970s marked a turning point that encouraged poets to openly explore disability themes. In the 1990s and 2000s, disabled poets began to reject both pity-based portrayals and supercrip narratives of overcoming disability. Supercrip is a stereotypical representation of disabled people that formulates their accomplishments as inspirational stories of defying or overcoming their disability to succeed, instead of recognizing their accomplishment as a matter of fact and their disabilities as a part of their life or their identity. Jim Ferris created the first scholarly approach to analyzing disability poetry, focusing on non-standard bodies and self-identity. Ferris's approach filled a crucial gap in literary criticism by providing tools specifically designed to understand disability poetry's unique aesthetic qualities. Norton identifies several characteristics of disability poetry: challenging stereotypes, foregrounding disabled perspectives, emphasizing embodiment, and using alternative poetic techniques. Poets continue to expand on these characteristics and add new aspects of this type of poetic expression. Here are a few key elements that characterize disability poetry today. Embodied experience. Disability poetry often foregrounds the physical, sensory, or cognitive realities of disabled bodies and minds, rejecting abstract or disembodied verse in favor of grounded material experiences. Reclamation of language. Poets frequently reclaim medical terminology, slurs, or clinical language, transforming pathologizing words into sources of power and self-definition rather than shame. Resistance to cure narratives. Rather than focusing on overcoming or transcending disability, these works often celebrate difference and challenge societal pressures to fix or normalize disabled experiences. Nonlinear narratives. Many disability poems reflect alternative relationships to time, whether through chronic illness cycles, different processing speeds, or disruptive life trajectories that don't follow typical developmental patterns. This is also known as crib time. Independence and community. Disability poetry frequently explores themes of mutual aid, accessibility, and collective struggle, challenging individualistic cultural narratives. Sensory innovation. Poets experiment with form to reflect different ways of perceiving and processing the world, including visual poetry for deaf experiences or tactile elements for blind readers. Critique of medical industrial complex. Many works interrogate healthcare systems, institutionalization, and the medicalization of difference, offering insider perspectives on these powerful structures. In conclusion, disability poetry encompasses works that center the lived experiences of disabled individuals, transforming what society often views as limitation into a source of creative power and a way of understanding embodiment.